Welcome to episode 136 of Build Your House Yourself University by BYHYU. I'm your host and fellow student, Michelle Nelson, and together we'll learn the basics of home design and construction and demystify the building process so you can be better prepared for challenges and build quality dream homes with or without a general contractor. As we continue to prepare to start construction, I've been calling around for quotes for the insurance that will need to be in place before we begin work, and I've run into some challenges. There are two policies that you'll need to protect yourself if you're acting as owner-builder. One is builder's risk insurance, and the other is general liability insurance. If you're hiring a general contractor, he or she will be responsible for purchasing those policies. We talked about builder's risk and general liability insurance way back in episode 2 called You Could Save Money, Lots of Money. But should you build your own house? All right, pop quiz. Do you remember the other name for builder's risk insurance? I know it's been a long time, so if you don't remember, don't feel bad. Well, the other name for builder's risk insurance is course of construction insurance, and it covers loss or damage to the house under construction, as well as loss or damage to any materials or equipment used during the course of construction. Owner builders and builders should purchase enough coverage to equal 100% of the anticipated construction costs. So if you're building a $200,000 house, your builder's risk policy should cover the full $200,000. General liability insurance is another type of insurance that you'll need to protect yourself. General liability is to safeguard owner builders or builders against potential lawsuits over accidents, injuries, and illnesses that occur on the job site. Lending institutions and building permit departments often require builder's risk and general liability insurance. Professional builders who employ subcontractors as full-time workers, they often need workers' compensation insurance. Owner builders and general contractors who have no employees or who simply hire subcontractors as independent workers typically don't need to pay workers' compensation. Just check with your state's requirements to be sure. Workers' compensation is a form of insurance that provides wage replacement and medical benefits to employees who suffer job-related injuries or illnesses. In exchange for workers' compensation benefits, the injured worker agrees not to sue their employer for negligence. Since most owner builders will not have employees working on their homes, most states do not require owner builders to acquire workers' compensation. In fact, in many states, there is no legal requirement for small business owners and independent contractors to carry workers' compensation. A workers' compensation waiver, also called a certificate of non-coverage, is typically used by independent contractors. With a workers' compensation waiver, the independent contractor is declaring that he does not have workers' compensation and waives any and all rights to file any workers' compensation claims for himself or his workers against the builder or owner builder in the event of an accident. So, although in most cases, as an owner builder, you will not need to obtain workers' compensation insurance, you should ask each subcontractor for their workers' compensation certificate, for them and for their workers, or a certificate of non-coverage. In addition to obtaining either a copy of the sub's workers' compensation certificate or their certificate of non-coverage or waiver, owner builders should obtain a waiver of subrogation. Never heard of that? Neither had I. Subrogation is a fancy word meaning an insurance company has the legal right to recover the amount it's paid for a claim. They recover the amount they paid by suing the party that caused the loss or injury. So in the scenario of building a house, subrogation gives an insurance company the right to sue the builder or owner builder if a subcontractor files a claim. Owner builders should ask for a waiver of subrogation, which keeps the subcontractor's insurance companies from going after the owner builder if a subcontractor files a claim. Owner builders and general contractors often insist on this waiver of subrogation because they want to protect themselves from being held liable to insurance companies for injuries that the subcontractors incur. The waiver of subrogation endorsement states that the insurance company will not enforce its right to recover payments it makes to an injured worker from the person or organization listed on the endorsement, which should be you. To be clear, this endorsement and the waiver agreement do not stop the injured employee from suing the builder or owner builder. He still has the ability to sue the owner and general contractor for his injuries, but his insurance company can't sue you. Insurance agents usually encourage owner builders and contractors to get waivers of subrogation to protect their liability insurance and to reserve it for other potential claims. Subcontractors usually don't resist a waiver of subrogation because they know they may lose jobs by refusing to give the waiver. Now, with that background information in mind, let me tell you the problem I came across when calling around for insurance quotes for my project. As an owner builder, I called to get quotes for builder's risk and general liability insurance. Most companies had no issue providing a builder's risk policy to me as a non-experienced owner builder without a contractor's license. But sometimes companies charged me more for builder's risk because of my lack of construction experience. The lowest price I found for builder's risk insurance was 24 cents per $100 of home value. So for a $100,000 home, you'd pay $240 per year for builder's risk. And for a $200,000 home, you'd pay $480 for builder's risk. So obtaining builder's risk usually isn't a problem for owner builders. The challenge came in finding a company who would provide a general liability policy. In my previous online research, I hadn't read anything about owner builders having trouble getting general liability insurance. Not one article said that would be a challenge. However, after calling around to about 6 or 7 different insurance companies, I only found 2 that were willing to write a general liability policy for me. Most companies said that they only write general liability policies for licensed contractors or companies, not non-licensed individuals. And my hiring an experienced licensed contractor as a construction manager didn't make them reconsider. The rare company that would give me general liability insurance as a non-licensed individual said that the policy would be several $1,000 and said that they would reassess the price during the project, and there's a chance that price could go up depending on the amount of work being done by subcontractors. So not only was I being charged an extremely high fee, but there was a chance that I'd be charged even more after the insurance company audited the project. When about 3 of the companies denied me general liability, I started to search the internet to find out if other owner builders had similar challenges. They did. Many owner builders said they acquired builder's risk insurance with no problem, but they had quite a bit of trouble getting general liability coverage because they were told, like I was told, that general liability insurance was for licensed professionals or companies. I read about 2 main solutions that helped owner builders get the liability coverage they needed. One is to build your house in the name of an LLC, a limited liability company. That does a couple of things. Number 1, it allows you to get general liability insurance with no problem because it would be an LLC, a company that would be insured. Secondly, building a house under the name of an LLC instead of your personal name would limit your liability if you were sued because of accidents or injuries that occur on the job site. An LLC limits your personal liability because an LLC is legally separate from its owners. LLCs are responsible for their own debts and obligations, and although you can lose the money that you've invested in the company, personal assets, such as your home and bank account, can't be used for debts or lawsuits. There may even be advantages with supply companies and subcontractors if you build your house under the name of an LLC. The LLC name may convey to material supply companies and subcontractors that you're a big shot company with plans and assets to build future homes. If they think that, they may be willing to give you larger discounts. Although we never want to be dishonest about our status as owner builders, we also don't have to volunteer that information. Most state government websites let you file for an LLC online. Just Google "form an LLC" and the name of your state. It's really pretty simple. I did it myself. Alternatively, you can go to a site like LegalZoom, or you can talk to a lawyer about forming an LLC. Those options will obviously be more expensive. The second option available for owner builders having difficulty acquiring general liability insurance is to get a homeowner's policy with an under construction or course of construction endorsement, which usually has a general liability policy associated with it. Not all insurance companies will offer such a policy, but State Farm is the company that most owner builders seem to use. The State Farm product is like a combination homeowners, general liability, and builder's risk policy rolled into one. This homeowner's policy has an under construction endorsement, and it doesn't use the term builder's risk, but the policy that I got a quote for does cover loss and damage to materials during construction, just like a builder's risk policy would. This policy will also cover injuries and accidents on the job site, then rolls into a regular homeowner's policy at the end of construction. That policy, with discounts for bundled home and car insurance, costs less than $2,000 per year. Of course, the price of the policy will vary with the amount of coverage you need and the deductibles you're willing to pay. Talk to an experienced insurance agent and read the policy quote carefully, and maybe even consult a lawyer about the type of coverage you should acquire. You should also consider getting an umbrella insurance policy on top of everything else. Umbrella insurance is extra liability insurance. This type of insurance policy is designed to help protect you from major claims and lawsuits. It provides additional liability coverage over the limits of your homeowners and auto insurance policies. This protection is designed to kick in when the liability of those other policies has been exhausted. In most cases, personal umbrella policies are available in million-dollar increments from $1 million to $5 million. While an umbrella policy is not required, it may offer increased protection in the unfortunate event of an accident. An umbrella policy will not only cover you against job site accidents, but against auto accidents as well. The coverage is not extra coverage for the insured, but it's extra liability coverage for those who are injured by you or on your property. Most umbrella policies are pretty inexpensive for what you get. A $1 million umbrella policy will probably only cost you a few $100s per year. So, to summarize, as owner-builder, you probably won't have trouble getting builder's risk insurance, although you might pay more if you compare it to what an experienced contractor pays. But you probably will have a tough time acquiring general liability insurance as a non-licensed contractor and a non-business entity. One solution is to hire a builder and not be an owner builder and let the experienced builder deal with the insurance. Or you can get a building permit and general liability insurance under the name of an LLC. Another option is to look for a homeowner's policy with a course of construction endorsement. Many owner builders use a State Farm policy because it covers loss and damage to materials like a builder's risk policy, and injuries and accidents during construction, like a general liability policy, and then it rolls into a more traditional homeowner's policy after construction. In addition, you might consider getting a personal umbrella policy, which is like extra liability insurance. Warning here. The information here pertains to the policies that I have personally researched. Make sure the policies you choose and research protect you against lost and stolen materials and against lawsuits for job site accidents and injuries. In addition, don't forget to get copies of insurance certificates for all subcontractors, including waivers of subrogation and workers' compensation certificates or certificates of non-coverage. To be extra diligent, you can call the insurance companies to verify coverage and to ask them to inform you if there's a lapse in payment, which would cause a lapse in coverage. Plus, you can ask subs to add you to their insurance policies as the additional insured. Well, that's all I have for you this week. I hope that my challenges help you to avoid those challenges. And I hope you'll join me next week for another episode of Build Your House Yourself University. BYHYU. Please remember that the purpose of this podcast is simply to educate and inform. It's not a substitute for professional advice. The information that you hear is based only on the opinions, research, and experiences of my guests and myself. That information might be incomplete, it's subject to change, and it may not apply to your project. In addition, building codes and requirements vary from region to region, so always consult a professional about specific recommendations for your home.